Episode 8 of Sweet Tooth Season 3 starts this finale with a reminder that all stories end. Everything has led to this chapter as we now find out just who is still alive at the end of everything, humans or hybrids. Back in the cave, Jep is livid and forced back by the guards holding him. Gus is similarly distraught and realises that humans don't deserve to be kept alive. All they do is take and turn on one another. He's completely grief-stricken, and after a big speech about the horrors of humanity, Zhang brushes it off and believes that Gus and the other hybrids are mistakes. She wants to wipe all of them off the planet. In fact, Zhang decides she's going to create a new virus that targets hybrids only. She's going to use the tree sap to concoct this. Singh is shocked at her plan, but with the beast, they'll be able to extract the sap and cause chaos and destruction. Addy Singh is starting to have doubts, especially after killing Birdie, and he contemplates whether he can actually do this. His slight hesitation is enough for Jep to break free from his guards and give everyone inside the cave an ultimatum of his own. With an explosive and flare in hand, he forces Zhang and the others back. He wants them all to leave, otherwise he'll blow the place sky high. Zhang calls his bluff though and knows he won't kill all these people, and specifically Gus. When he eases off, Zhang steps forward and stabs Jep in the gut after telling him he's good at getting in the way. With Jep down, Singh steps up with the knife and looks set to kill Gus. Back at the outpost, Sienna leads a group as they decide to head out and track down the beast, stopping it before it's too late. They're now going on the offensive. With harpoons in tow, they chase the cars and manage to hit the back of the beast, right in the fuel tank. Unfortunately, it's barely draining. Becky breaks into the cockpit and manages to stop Jordan, causing the vehicle to topple upside down in the process. Unfortunately, it also catches fire and Wendy is shocked, believing that her sister may be dead. Back in the cave, Addy Singh tells Gus he's no longer a doctor. He stalks towards Gus with a knife, and as our little Sweet Tooth whispers that he's not afraid, Jep chimes in and tells him he needs to make sure he doesn't lose himself. Zhang also tries to rile up Addy Singh, but unfortunately it backfires when she mentions Rani. Singh calls her a gargoyle and he turns on her men and starts wildly slashing everywhere. Everything kicks off, Zhang pulls the axe out of the tree and gives everyone the sick. Sap oozes out the tree, and even outside, every human collapses on the ground and begins twitching. Gus heads over to the tree and cuts his hand open, touching the wood. He calls out, begging to save Jep. As he slams his fist repeatedly, we cut to a vision of Gus in the woods with Pubba. They have a touching reunion, with the latter giving some encouraging words of wisdom to his son. Jep is also there too, and when Gus awakens, he finds himself leaning on Jep, who's breathing heavily. As a result of this, Gus knows exactly what to do. He sets off the flare and ignites the antlers. As the whole tree burns in a kaleidoscope of colour and heat, the sick fades and everyone is back to normal again. That goes for everyone outside as well. Rosie awakens and immediately embraces her children, while Becky also wakes up and finds herself absolutely fine, albeit a bit banged up inside the upside down beast. Jordan though is dead.
Oh no! Anyway, last week...
Wendy and Becky are reunited just as the cave starts to fall apart. Singh is trapped under a bunch of rubble and encourages them all to leave, while he grabs hold of the severed antler as his final act on this planet. Everyone else scrambles outside. At the same time, Rosie catches up with Becky and holds her at gunpoint. Wendy, meanwhile, frees one of her pups that was chained up. There aren't any more deaths right now though, as Ginger goes into labour. She's there with Tex, and both Wendy and Becky join in to help with her labour. After all, it's only been a few episodes and Becky obviously has experience with this now, given what we've seen earlier in this season. Just as the cave explodes, Zhang steps out and demands a soldier continue to kill. However, they all refuse. After all, Ginger has just given birth. Rosie carries the babe all the way up to her mum and shows off the hybrid child. Zhang is disgusted and rejects it. In turn, everyone decides to reject her and her archaic views. One thing's for sure, nature has decided to show them mercy. The sick is buried for good and the clock has now stopped ticking for humanity, at least in terms of the doomsday strain. Now humans can live out their final days however they want, together in peace. The colony decide to set out and create a better world, while Zhang is left all on her own in Alaska to presumably die a horrible lonely death. Inside that cave where Singh died, we do see that new life is starting to grow. Gus heads back to Yellowstone where all the other hybrid children are hanging out. It appears they're creating a much better home for everyone. As we cut forward in time, we see that our narrator has actually been Gus all along, but a much older version of Gus who's grown old with Wendy as his partner, and they've ended up in a relationship together. He's been telling this story to the kids at their sanctuary, and to be fair, there have been hints all the way through this season that Wendy and Gus would end up together. Rewatching this, it's actually a lot clearer than it is on the first time through, but there's a lot of shots where these two are together or off talking in private while everyone else is doing other things. Anyway, I digress. Through all of this, Jep has been suspiciously absent. Outside the cave back in Alaska, he asks Gus to tell him a story to help keep them going. His knife wound does look fatal, especially when he opens up his jacket and we can see there's blood stained all the way around his shirt. However, he starts crying as Gus tells his story. Those inside the community ask about Jep, and older Gus reveals that he lives on through their stories, hinting that he's basically passed away now. After this, we cut to Yellowstone, where Jep steps out the house and sits with Gus. The pair drink syrup at the same time and seem to live out their days together, but this scene is definitely open to interpretation. On the one hand, yeah, you could say Jep made it back with Gus and the others and presumably got patched up from that knife wound. However, him asking Gus to tell a story and acting lethargic, crying and struggling outside the cave, not to mention Gus's words about him living on through their stories, hint at him passing, and the Yellowstone part simply being the big man living on through Gus's memory. But again, maybe it's a more literal sense and he did make it back. What do you think? Is he alive at the end? Because I mean, this is basically where season 3 of Sweet Tooth ends, so by all means let us know in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.